From California, it's no secret, I'm from the Central Valley. It's no secret that we've got our share of water problems, too little and too much here recently. We've got historic levels of rain, and the other years we have hardships of drought. A lot of the precious water resources we have in both wet and dry years are being flushed out to the ocean to restore salmon habitat, restore salmon and the Delta smelt. We've been doing this for several decades now, 40 years and 20 years of maximum flows that have depleted our groundwater, destroyed irrigated landscapes. We've got agricultural removal, we've got food costs coming. In the South Valley, we've got respiratory illness and pediatric respiratory illness and very disadvantaged communities at levels we've never seen before. We're literally creating a dust bowl with some of these practices. How are you measuring success? How are you committed to measuring success? And do you have a program to take a look at some of these fish flows through the Delta and compare them to their negative impacts and give us kind of a cost-benefit analysis and maybe adjust them?
Thank you so much for the question. And any specific details, of course, we're happy to follow up with your office on that. But what I can say is that Camille Tootin, our Reclamation Commissioner, who I hope you've had an opportunity to speak with at some point, takes all of these things very seriously. We know that a lot of folks have the misconception that the drought is over, but we know that...
No, I mean, sorry, Madam Secretary, but the facts are pretty clear. We've been flushing very, very large, gargantuan amounts of our precious water out to the ocean since the early 90s to attempt to restore salmon and restore Delta smelt. I mean, I hope this is on your radar, on your personal radar. I mean, California is a huge food resource for America and for the world. My district's in a very economically disadvantaged. It's a Voting Rights Act district. It's 80% Hispanic, lots of farm workers out of work. Mm-hmm. I really hope that as Secretary, that you would take personal interest in the really abject failure of the fish flows programs for both the salmon and the smelt, and at this point in your service, have at least some large bullet points of how you would criticize this and how you hope to improve it. And we'll talk about forests next, because that's another abject failure in single species management for restoration, and our forests are overgrown and burning all the same. So please tell me you've got California on your radar personally, and explain to me, even in a pixelated way, what you intend to do to criticize what you're doing and either defend it or change it.
Thank you. I appreciate the question. What I was going to get to was the fact that with all of this water, we do store as much as possible. Reclamation has a program where they're recharging groundwater, so a lot of irrigators have taken advantage of that program, and there have been millions of acre feet that have been used to recharge the groundwater. So we're working, we have conversations with folks on the ground in all of those areas.
Let me add to that, please. California water infrastructure hasn't been added to significantly in 40 years. We haven't. If you take kind of a top list, build Auburn, raise Shasta, put in Temperance Flat, put in sites, all the big water projects that could really move the needle in terms of California flood control, habitat restoration, agriculture, housing affordability. Water sustainability is housing affordability. It would be about $12 billion. California has a $3.6 trillion annual GDP. So for 0.3, for 1/3 of 1% of California's annual GDP, we could catch ourselves up with 2 or 3 generations worth of water infrastructure and solve the environmental pressures, solve the flood control pressures, solve the economic pressures, as well as the human health and welfare pressures in the Central Valley. And I really wish I could hear some details from you, if not now, in the future, of how you intend to make it happen. We've put HR 1 through to get NEPA reform that will allow these projects to go forward in a reasonable manner, meaning not 40 years with no progress. And I'm hoping that you'll be a full partner. It's not very much money when we look at the overall economy of California, and we're hoping you'll partner in making this happen. Thank you.
We're absolutely happy to work with you.